Okay, so here's a combination I bet you've never really thought about before. Ancient biblical stories and, well, modern math. It sounds a little wild, right? But we're about to break down exactly how one really innovative curriculum uses these narratives, stories of prophets and flocks, to teach some core mathematical principles.
And it all starts with a pretty intriguing question. I mean, what on earth can Abraham's camels possibly teach us about math? You might think absolutely nothing, but as we're about to see, the answer is actually a whole lot.
So, what we're looking at today is this really unique teaching method, and it all hinges on one clever idea. Take stories that students might already be familiar with and use them as a framework to make abstract math feel way more concrete and relatable. To really understand how this all works, we've got to start with the mathematical heart of the whole lesson. And pretty much everything here revolves around one single powerful concept, the proportional relationship. So, what does that actually mean in plain English? A proportional relationship, it sounds fancy, but it's just a way of saying that when one number changes, another number changes right along with it at a really consistent rate. So, if you double one, you got to double the other to keep things in balance. It's that simple. And here's where things get really interesting. The curriculum connects this mathematical idea to a much bigger one. The big idea is that the reliable, predictable patterns you find in a math table are a lot like larger, trustworthy patterns in the world. It's a powerful way to ground logic in something that feels deeply familiar. All right, so that's the theory. But how does this actually look in a classroom setting? Let's dive into the practical examples, which pull stories straight from the source material. So we're going to start with Abraham and his livestock. The scenario is simple. For every certain number of camels he has, he trades for a specific number of sheep. And the key here, the most important part, is that the rate is always fixed. So take a look at this table. For every 2 camels, Abraham gets 3 sheep. So when he has 4 camels, which you'll notice is double the original number, he gets 6 sheep, also double. The ratio stays the same. So if we follow that pattern, what number do you think goes in that final box? If you were thinking 9, you absolutely nailed it. Since 6 camels is 3 times the original 2, you just multiply the original 3 sheep by 3. The proportion stays constant, and just following that simple pattern gives you the answer. Pretty neat. Okay, let's try one more just to really lock this concept in. This time, the story is about the prophet Elijah being fed by ravens out in the wilderness. Now, this time, the ratio is even more straightforward. It's just 1 to 2. For every 1 raven, 2 pieces of bread show up. So that means 2 ravens bring 4 pieces, 3 bring 6. Once you see the pattern, you can totally predict what's coming next. It's all about that constant, reliable relationship. And, of course, 4 ravens would bring 8 pieces of bread. See, each example reinforces the exact same mathematical logic, it's just wrapped in a different, memorable story. Now that we've seen how it all works, let's try solving a problem ourselves. This one is pulled directly from the curriculum's homework section. Let's see how we do. Okay, here's the question. If 4 servants can handle 10 meals, how many meals could 8 servants handle? Just take a second to think about that pattern. How do the numbers scale up? All right, let's walk through the logic. We start with our ratio, 4 servants for every 10 meals. Then we see the number of servants doubles, going from 4 up to 8. So to keep everything in proportion, the number of meals has to double too. 10 times 2 gets us our answer, 20 meals. It is the exact same reliable pattern we saw with the camels and the ravens. So we've seen the how. We know how the math works inside these stories. But now let's kind of zoom out and look at the why. What is the bigger goal of a teaching strategy like this? This verse, which is included right there in the lesson, isn't about numbers at all, is it? It's about care, reliability, and guidance. This is what emotionally anchors the theme of the lesson. The idea is that just as a shepherd reliably tends to a flock, mathematical patterns are also reliable and can guide us to the right answer. So what's really the magic in this method? Well, it's about reframing math itself. Instead of being just a cold set of rules you have to memorize, it becomes a system of reliable, understandable patterns. And by linking those patterns to these familiar, trusted stories, an abstract idea like proportionality is transformed into something concrete, meaningful, and honestly, maybe even a little comforting. And all this leaves us with a bigger question to chew on. This curriculum connected math to ancient stories. So what other surprising pairings could do the same thing? Maybe physics and music? Or chemistry and cooking? What other connections could unlock our own understanding of some of the world's most complex subjects? It's a fascinating thought. Thanks for watching.